Hey guys, so my name is Tahran and I'm currently a master's student at the University of Tampa studying exercise science, and as of now I'm an intern at Tampa Sports Academy, and today I'll be creating a video speaking about concurrent training. So concurrent training is nothing but the amalgamation or the combining of two important training modalities, which include strength training and cardiovascular endurance based training. Now, a variety of team sports, a variety of athletes participating in a variety of sports require a combined or an amalgamation of these two components when it comes to maximizing training adaptations, maximizing sport performance in training as well as on the field during a game. These two modalities can be integrated within a training week, a training day, or even a training month, given that it's well planned and it takes into account the athlete's fatigue management, time management, as well as the athlete's scope of maximizing training adaptations. Moreover, integration of these two modalities has shown to reverse a variety of cardiovascular disorders, diabetes, sarcopenia, increases muscle mass, improves VO2 max, and a variety of other cellular functioning of the body. To continue, I just wanted to make one thing clear, is that strength training and endurance training are both resistance exercises. Now, why would I say that? Well, whether you're barbell squatting 300 pounds or you're running a 5-mile race, at the end of the day, your muscles, your skeletal muscles, have to produce some internal force to provide movement. Muscles produce force, which rely on joints, connective tissue, and that's how we move. However, the thing differentiating the two modalities is the magnitude of the tension or the internal force produced by the muscle, and that's what differentiates cardiovascular from strength or power based training. But at the end of the day, muscles have to produce force, and both are resistance training because the force produced by the muscles is resisting the external force on the body. Now let's take into account the principle of overload. The principle of overload, which is one of the most important principles of strength training or aerobic based training, is that as long as you're providing your body with a sufficient amount of overloading stimulus, your body will adapt because your body wants to get better at handling a particular stress, so that the next time you provide the same stress, it can handle it way stronger. Now, this overload causes the adaptation, and as you adapt, you can now provide a greater overload. So it all goes hand in hand. It's not two separate entities, it's one single cause and effect. During strength training, we provide our bodies with intermittent high forces with short rest intervals. Now, because each force magnitude is so high, the external force is so high, our body responds in a particular way. Our body responds by increasing overall muscular strength, increasing neural adaptations, as well as increasing the size of our muscle cells so that we get stronger. We have bigger force producing units to produce force. The next time we go into the gym and do the same activities, our bodies do not have to go under the same stress. Now, these adaptations take place acutely. Even after just one session, we have a variety of cellular adaptations which our body go through in order to adapt over a long period of time. Now, as you keep providing your body with some overload, maybe improving the amount of reps you do, improving the amount of weight you do, increasing the amount of stimulus you provide to your muscles, your body will adapt. And over the long run, strength training helps to increase muscle size, increase strength, improves overall bone health, makes bone stronger, reduces sarcopenia, which is the age-related loss of muscle mass in older adults, as well as improves coordination, mobility, flexibility, and so on. On the other hand, in the case of endurance-based training, our bodies are subjected to a lower magnitude of force, but for a prolonged period of time. Our muscles have to sustain high amounts of forces for longer durations, and hence that provides a unique stimulus for the body to adapt to. And the body adapts in a variety of ways. For example, improves overall cellular mitochondrial content, improves oxidative capacity, capillary density. Our muscles get better at utilizing fats as a source of energy because fats help increase prolonged activities. It spares carbohydrates, spares glycogen, which athletes do require. Hence, both strength training and cardiovascular training are two important modalities which many athletes require to be combined in one single training cycle to maximize overall training adaptations. Improving strength, improving cardiovascular endurance, gaining muscle, improving oxidative capacity are all different adaptations which a body require in order to excel at a particular sport, especially for athletes who have to develop multidisciplinary amounts of adaptations to excel in their given sport. But one may ask, why complicate? Just focus on training specificity, meaning training for strength, so you train first for strength. If you're training for endurance capacity, train for endurance capacity. Why do you want to combine these two things? Well, it's not so simple. Yes, at one end you have training adaptations for endurance, at one end you have adaptations for strength. But you have some gray area, you have some space in between which you have to cover. Athletes may need to cover this gray space to excel in sports. A strong athlete may require some endurance capacity. Hence, concurrent training is normally programmed automatically in a trainee's training cycle over a period of time to maximize its adaptation. However, many studies having athletes perform both modalities in one training cycle has shown some interference effect. This interference effects actually is faced by the strength training adaptations from cardiovascular adaptation. The adaptations produced from cardiovascular training seems to affect strength adaptations. However, a variety of strength and conditioning studies have been conducted to understand what is causing this interference effect between adaptations of cardiovascular endurance as well as strength. A variety of studies have said that yes, cardiovascular endurance adaptations may affect strength gains. However, some studies have found no difference between the two groups, a cardio group and a strength training group, and a group which combines the two. Because there are a variety of different methodologies used in different studies, different training volume, exercise order, exercise intensity, all these factors play a very important role in managing adaptations. One can be reduced, one can be increased, and hence one can manage concurrent training. Let us see how by analyzing each training variable to see how one can manage adaptations of strength training and endurance training in one training cycle. The first variable to consider is training experience. How well trained, how well experienced is one particular person to a given stimulus. For example, beginners who have been introduced to a novel stimulus may actually adapt to both simultaneously. They may adapt to strength training as well as cardiovascular training. In fact, when beginners just start to perform cardiovascular training, they may actually improve strength and muscle size as well. There's data on this. On the other hand, when beginners start to just train for strength, they may see improvements in strength, muscle size, as well as aerobic adaptations. Hence, the principle of specificity doesn't really apply when it comes to untrained novice individuals. However, as one gains experience, as one gets more used to that particular stimulus, training adaptations would have to be specific to your training goals. For example, you may have to focus on one training modality at a time instead of managing two different modalities, because that could affect one's recoverability. That could affect one fatigue management. Hence, what is recommended is that one has to distribute training adaptations, training skills in a variety of blocks. A block focusing on strength training, a block focusing on endurance training. For example, as a periodized plan, one can start off training for hypertrophy, one can start off training to build work capacity. But as you get closer to competition, as a powerlifter gets closer to competing in a given meet on a given day, training has to start getting more specific. Yes, the few initial blocks can be focused on gaining endurance capacity, gaining hypertrophy to improve work capacity, but as you get closer to competition day, training has to get more specific, meaning you will have to perform high intensity squats, bench press, deadlifts to maximize your overall training adaptations, to maximize certain neural adaptations, which will only happen when you perform at higher intensities, at higher loads, at higher intensity of efforts, relative intensity of effort. Thus, from one block to the other, you can transition from one goal to a different goal and eventually peak for a particular competition. Exercise order and exercise selection. Now, exercise order and selection will depend completely on the goal of the training in a given session. For instance, when the goal of the training session is to maximize skeletal muscle strength, the goal will have to be to perform strength before endurance-based training in a concurrent training periodized plan. This is because endurance-based training before strength training has shown to impede performance in the strength training session, because it could affect strength, it could affect neuromuscular adaptations, and this seems to have a high effect in power-based training. For power-based sports, when the goal is to maximize muscle power, performing long-distance endurance-based training has shown to affect overall power adaptations. Moreover, when selecting exercises, one can perform upper body and lower body sessions on different days. For instance, an upper body cardio session can happen on the same day as a lower body strength training session. However, combining lower body cardio sessions with lower body strength training sessions may affect overall strength training performance compared to having an upper body session coupled with a lower body session. For instance, you could have an upper body HIIT workout coupled with lower body plyometric workout. This would not really interfere with the plyometric workout because you're performing upper body HIIT workout, which may not really cause any neuromuscular adaptations which may affect the strength training or power training adaptations. Now, let's take into account the modalities one can choose when trying to maximize concurrent training adaptations. During a training cycle, when an athlete's goal is to improve muscular strength and muscular power, endurance training adaptations can take the backseat. However, one must not completely ignore endurance training adaptations, because even that's important to maximize overall work capacity and improve aerobic adaptations as well. However, when the goal is complete strength, one should avoid. However, when the goal is just to increase strength in a given cycle, one can avoid exercises like long distance running or jogging, because such movement patterns can cause a lot of eccentric muscle damage, which can affect or negate the adaptations from strength training. On the contrary, one can perform exercises like biking, elliptical, rowing, or even swimming. For instance, an athlete trying to improve his or her jump squat performance and power must implement cycling instead of running or sprinting, because cycling produces similar biomechanic parameters as compared to squatting. Hence, it is more specific to the goal of the athlete, which is to improve jump squat performance and jump squat power. Now, when taking into account the intensity plays a very important role in determining the adaptation. Generally, we have high intensity interval training and low intensity continuous interval training. Participating in high intensity interval training or HIIT or even low intensity interval training may produce a variety of different adaptations, because at the end of the day, you're utilizing and taxing different energy systems in the body to produce energy, to produce force. Thus, normally, one can perform. Now, although intensity of the exercise determines the adaptation, volume is more important, because volume determines the extent of adaptation. Up to a point, increase in volume will increase overall adaptations, whether it is for strength gains or aerobic power gains. Therefore, volume should be equally distributed throughout the week to minimize fatigue accumulation and maximize training adaptations. This is where HIIT or HIIT, which is high intensity interval training, comes into play. HIIT workouts have shown to produce similar results as compared to low intensity continuous long duration training, but with much less volume. Thus, when taking into account the total duration or total volume or the amount of work done in one session, limiting endurance sessions to 20 to 30 minutes before strength training workouts seem to maximize overall adaptations and minimize the interference effect between endurance training and strength training. Now, when taking into account the total volume, the amount of work done by an athlete in endurance-based training, limiting each session to around 20 to 30 minutes before or after strength training is what seems to negate interference effect of adaptations between strength training and endurance-based training. Hence, one should also take into account the individual considerations of the athlete. What does the athlete prefer to do? Many times, HIIT workouts along with strenuous strength training workouts may minimize overall adaptations because of increased stress the athlete faces. Hence, in that instance, performing some moderate intensity, continuous low intensity work can be beneficial as well. Putting everything into perspective, the following key points must be taken into account in order to maximize the athlete's concurrent training adaptations. Number 1. Avoid performing cardio and strength-based workouts for the same muscle group or muscle groups in any one given day. Number 2. Conducting autoregulatory methods to analyze the athlete's fatigue status and the athlete's recoverability becomes a very important role when managing two modalities into one training cycle. Number 3. Instead of performing running and long distance jogging at a low intensity, performing HIIT workouts, cycling, elliptical, swimming, or even rowing may be prudent, because these movement patterns do not require a lot of joint forces and decrease the amount of eccentric muscle damage, which can affect strength training workouts. Number 4. Total volume and total effort put in a given session is what determines the magnitude and the extent of the adaptation. Hence, taking into account the total volume and checking the leak of any performance drops in one modality because of the other, or vice versa, should be taken into account.